Today's episode is brought to you by the Gathering of Fools, ambassadors of bourbon, Gary and Bean. Thank you for all of your work in helping us get the best bourbons right here in the Gathering of Fools studio. We salute you. All right, back in the studio for the, I guess technically third episode of MMA Fools since...
well, the first one was your regular podcast.
Right, but we decided to do the podcast, the MMA Fools. So I guess we'll say the second MMA Fools podcast.
We talked a lot of MMA on the podcast, but
yeah,
that's just because we always talk MMA.
Right, that's what we do even just when we bump into each other.
Hey, it's Walmart. Hey, did you see that fight?
Yeah, right. But obviously, I think we're going to start with UFC 248, huh?
Yeah.
Which had some exciting shit and some boring shit.
Yeah. It was all over the map, pretty much.
Yeah.
The undercard had some exciting stuff. The regular card was pretty good. I mean, the first Neil Magny fight, it's an interesting fight for who's in it, but it wasn't, it wasn't something spectacular, but it was interesting for the move, the placements it puts people. Yeah,
I was actually going to get into him. We'll just start with him just because you already brought it up. I thought he looked amazing.
Yeah, he looks good, but I mean, I think he's a gatekeeper, but he looks good, and he looks like he's probably, putting himself in that top 5-6 range, like 7.
I would say so. Yeah. Well, but to me, he looked better. He looked more well-rounded.
He looked better than he did. Yeah,
than
he
he
came
ever
back
has.
better than before.
Yeah. I mean, his knees, his striking in general, what he was doing in the clinch. I was very surprised by him all around. Takedowns. I mean, it was a completely dominant performance.
I've seen a few of his fights, and this was the first time he stood out to me though. Mm-hmm. Like, I've seen him before, plenty of times, and just whatever.
Yeah,
but this time he's pushing into serious contender.
Yeah, I would say so, because it was the most dominant performance I think I ever saw him have. I've seen him put on a lot of good performances, and like you said, he's always been kind of a gatekeeper, and maybe he sticks around that area.
But he's hitting his peak right now. So,
I would say so. Yeah, I don't know if he changed his fight camp or what he did, but he looked a lot better than I've ever seen him look. Yeah. But in the prelim, the main one I wanted to talk about was Sugar Shane O'Malley.
Yeah, Sean O'Malley.
Sean, sorry, Sean. Sugar Shane's the boxer.
Yeah, I think he did that last time.
Yeah, I probably did.
I think you brought him up to me. I think, weren't you saying didn't you say to watch out for him or something? Mm-hmm. And you called him. Yeah, you said Sugar Shane.
Yeah,
but okay.
I think he's gonna be a superstar coming up.
Yeah, my buddy actually was texting me during that fight and was like, "Oh, dude, the Sean O'Malley guy, he's gonna be a superstar."
Yeah. Well,
I went back. I wasn't home at the time. I made it home at 10 o'clock to start the card. Mm-hmm. But I went back and watched, because basically the end of that fight was that fight. So I watched the last 30 seconds of it. Or
yeah, because that's all it was. It was within the first 2 minutes that he won, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and man, his first fight in the UFC, he actually broke his foot or something in the second round and still ended up winning the fight, which is insane.
He's got guts.
Yeah, and he just seems to have that it factor, and his stand-up game seems very precise.
There's something about him. People, they're drawn to him. Like I said, my buddy, he texted me out of the blue, like, "Hey, man, I really like this guy. You should watch out for him."
Well, and then it's sad it took him so long to get in the cage. He has pulled up here. He multiple failed drug tests, all at weird levels that seem to stem from a tainted supplement, though no one could track down what was causing the issue.
My buddy was like, his problem is he smokes weed. That's what I heard. I was like, they said that all the levels, seem to suggest tainted supplement as opposed to...
Yeah, that's what that says, but I know for a fact he actually did get knocked for marijuana at one point in time too. But he's very open about it, so it shouldn't be surprising.
Yeah. When are we gonna get past that? It's not a factor.
But
nobody.
You know what?
Even if you smoked the weed right before your fight, I still don't think it matters in any way. It doesn't enhance or hinder.
Well, a lot of Brazilian jiu-jitsu guys actually say that it helps them when they roll.
I think so, but I still don't see it as a performance enhance. Like for somebody who doesn't smoke weed, it would be terrifying. Imagine being like, I can't. Like you just get high and they shove you out there. Like there's no way. You'd be terrified and you would lose. Like you'd just be nervous. You'd clam up. But somebody who smokes weed, wouldn't do. I just don't see it being any effect. Like
and especially in that environment where how many people are watching you fight. I feel like that would be.
They all know I'm high. All these people in the crowd know I'm high.
They just start freaking out.
You're also in your underwear and you're fighting another dude.
Yeah, that should be nerve-wracking enough.
Yeah, who cares?
I see he pulled up something to see if it would have any can increase impulsive responses leading to more risk-taking behavior.
Oh,
I don't believe that's true at all.
About all that.
I'd say that's more alcohol.
You ever get high and they're like, "Hey, you want to ride this crotch rocket?" And you're like, no, it's not mine. Is it insured?
Yeah. That's hilarious. The other fight I wanted to bring up, and actually not even the fight, just the person, because he looked really impressive too. I'm not going to say his name right. Darush.
Oh, is that's the middle of the card, right? Mm-hmm. The one where the first round it was nothing. He hung on him the entire time. He was on his back the whole round.
But it was
I enjoyed that. I still enjoyed that.
Yeah, I was actually mad the crowd was booing at that.
Yeah,
point.
I didn't like that either. But it totally flipped. It 180'd in the second round. It became a brawl.
Yeah, it was insane. And I think it was just because Darush tired himself out hanging onto that guy's back the whole time.
Yeah, well, that's what he said. He was like, I didn't think I was weakening my legs, but once I got there, I realized, my legs were kind of tired, and I thought, well, I guess I got to hit him now.
Yeah.
And he was getting lit up, and then it just took him and smashed him.
Man, that last punch he hit him with, too. I mean, knocked his mouthpiece out of his mouth.
Yeah, it was a killer knockout. Like, the guy, it looked like he hurt him bad.
Yeah. I did. It made me think back on that. I forget who it was against, but Chris Lieben, was it Gleison Tebow? Where Chris Lieben was knocked out on his feet and then just started walking forward, punching, and knocked the other guy out.
Yeah, he's just because robot. Blah, blah. Or like what we talked about it, the Czech Congo and Pat Barry, where they got, they were both just knocking each other out basically. It was kind of like that, but Bruce, I mean, you thought he was. You're like, oh, that one he clipped him. One more, he's done, and then another one didn't come, and Bruce hit him, just cleaned him.
Yeah, Darush just knocked him out cold.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to save the women's fight for the last one, and we'll talk about Israel Adesanya versus Yoel Romero first, which some people are saying was the worst fight of all time. I don't believe that, but man, was it boring.
Yeah, I mean, was it like because people called the Wonder Boy with Woodley the most, the most boring fight. I think I was more bored during the Wonder Boy Woodley fight.
Well, I'll tell you for sure.
Because at any moment I knew Romero and Adesanya could end. Like, Romero could have clipped him, or Adesanya could have caught him leaving. But I just don't understand the split in opinion. To me, it's like that's Romero that did that. Like I don't blame Adesanya whatsoever.
I blame both.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, if you look at a couple points in that fight, Adesanya literally ran.
Yeah, but it was. I mean, he ran to avoid getting a flying knee his way. He took off the other direction. But
right, he literally ran away to make sure he didn't get hit with a power punch.
Yeah, Romero's saying like the guy's running away. Like, what do you want him to come stand in front of you and let him hit you? Like let
you hit him.
Yeah, let you hit him. It makes no sense. Like.
I blame both. But I do blame Romero just as much, if not more.
Yeah, especially because you're there. You got to go take that title. Like you're there to go beat that guy.
Right.
Like
you're the challenger. You have to go take the title. You can't just sit there and wait for something.
If I'm the champion, I literally could just stand here. Come on, like beat the champion now.
Right. But I do think Israel won that fight. I heard some people saying that Romero could have won that, but I think that was 100% Israel.
I just nothing. Not even if he did win technically, I would have been mad if they gave it to him because it's just like there's nothing happened here. Like let's just move on.
Yeah.
If you want to rematch it, fine, but like don't change a title because of that. Like that wasn't a fight. Barely. It's a sparring match. To
me, the whole highlight of that fight was actually Adesanya's walk-in because he had two of the most beautiful women.
They were hot.
I was like, who are these ladies? I've actually been trying to figure out who they were, and I can't figure it out. So if anybody knows, let me know because, man, they were beautiful, beautiful women. What do you got pulled up here?
I'd actually, that was the most entertaining thing because I posted. I was like, Izzy, you know, I mean, just his goofiness. Like, I just
Right.
thought it was funny,
Yeah.
and that was the highlight of the whole thing was his walkout.
Yeah, the rest of it was just absolute shit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame. I don't really blame either of them that much. You know, what I mean, it's kind of a styles thing. I kind of expected it not to be super action packed because Romero does try to like
lull you
yeah,
into
like
to
wants you to
brawl
come at him
with
and he's gonna smack you.
Yeah,
But
and Adesanya likes
It's
to
a
counter strike.
counter-strike, yeah.
So yeah, it wasn't a great matchup.
But how are you gonna tell me the guy who threw and landed more stuff lost? The champion who threw and landed
Yeah.
more lost. I mean, leg kicks count. Like
Right.
he busted his leg up.
Yeah, his leg was in bad shape.
Yeah.
That almost reminded me of, I think it was the last title fight in Strikeforce, Tariq Sifteen versus Nate Marquardt. Do you remember that?
Safadine versus Marquardt.
Yeah,
I don't remember the fight, but I remember it happening. But I can't.
pull up. It got called because of leg kicks. Pull up Nate Marquardt. Leg.
They just stopped. Like his leg is so messed up, we have to stop.
It was literally, there was blood, not from a cut. It was seeping through his pores.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
No, I didn't see that one.
Yeah. Go to images. That's the aftermath there.
Ew. So it's just basically a bruise
See,
that's
look at
so
that.
bad that your skin cannot contain the bruise anymore.
Yeah, look at that.
That's
Blood's just
gross.
seeping through.
That has to hurt so bad.
And then you see the aftermath. And
But-
they literally called that fight because he just couldn't stand
Well,
anymore.
how do you call that and then let Joanna keep fighting looking like Frankenstein?
Well,
It's your head.
right. I don't think he could stand anymore. But those hematomas, because that's what that was. They
it could kill you.
well,
I think,
no, they
right?
said they don't do anything. You know who else had one like that? Was
Oh, not the. I'm talking about the bruise. Like I remember when we were a kid, people you can die from getting a bruise, like it clotting or something.
Oh yeah, maybe if you have some weird blood thing.
Yeah, maybe.
But so let's go ahead and jump into Weili Zhang and Joanna Jędrzejczyk because that is one of the best fights I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of gender, it's one of the top 10 all-time fights.
I think I might put it somewhere around
5 or 6, maybe.
I might even put it around 3. I think
I know off the top of my head, Bisping Hendo is like one of my, or not Hendo versus Shogun 1 is one of my favorites. And
Lawler versus Rory McDonald
and Gustafsson versus Jones is up there.
Yeah.
Izzy versus Gastelum
Was
is
pretty
a really
good.
good fight. And then
one of my favorites still from
you got
WC.
Korean Zombie fights.
Korean Zombie versus Garcia.
Garcia, yeah. What else?
Well,
Yeah.
I think I might put it right after
Garcia Zombie or
nah,
right before.
I think I do number 1 is Lawler versus McDonald. Number 2, I might do Shogun versus Henderson, and then I might put these ladies up there.
It
right
might
after
be,
that.
yeah. I mean, it'd be hard to argue. Yeah, I don't put Jones Gus ahead. I think people hype that fight more than it deserves. Really.
Yeah, I mean,
I like it. It's a great fight, but
I don't think it was.
I don't think it's top 5. Yeah.
But this fight was incredible. I mean, these two girls literally just banged the entire time, and I have no problem with the call that was made. I have no problem with saying winning, but I do think Joanna actually won.
Yeah, so do I.
I think
I can't be mad because I mean she is, ultimately the champion. You got to be the man and beat the man.
Right.
But yeah, I mean if you held a gun to my head and said who won that fight, I'd say Joanna.
Yeah.
But it was so close that I when the score was coming down, I don't care who won this fight. It's it's great. Let's see it again.
Yeah, but one judge again fucked it up tremendously.
Yeah.
They said that Zhang won by 3.
Yeah, no.
Like there's no way that's fucking possible.
Yeah.
Like that fight was so close. Some of the best striking.
It's hard to give a fight when after Joanna looking the way she did. It's just hard to give somebody a fight when they look like that. Like
she looked like a Klanong afterwards.
She looked like a train hit her in the head.
Yeah, and she's a gorgeous woman,
Yeah.
and she did not look the same at all.
No,
I don't know. Like that's where it started.
Yeah,
and then it just keeps getting worse. She looked kind of like what you picture an alien looking like from all the drawings.
Yeah.
Like the top of the head's real big, slenders down,
Frankenstein's monster,
like a guitar pick.
Yeah, it's a shame for Joanna too because she's she is a champion at heart. I mean, and that that division she's in is like a 3-way tie for Rose, her, and Zhang are incredible.
And she looked better than she'd looked in a little while.
Yeah,
man.
it doesn't look like she's lost anything really.
No,
just because she lost this fight doesn't that might even had she kept winning, beat Rose, she might have lost this fight anyway. You know what I mean? This might have been the one that finally beat her, but.
By the way, in case you didn't see it, Jacob, look up Joanna before and after. But one thing that was hilarious during that fight, and I hope Rogan ends up talking about it in his podcast, is he kept saying, "Oh my gosh," over and over again. Did you hear that?
Yeah. Yeah,
Look at that difference. Is that not insane?
It looks like a whole different person.
Yeah. Like, what in the hell? The only hematoma I've seen that bad, I think, was Mark Hominick. I think.
Yeah, Hominick. It was like a
Aldo.
softball in his head. Yeah. I remember watching that. I was watching it with some people that don't normally watch MMA, and they were just horrified. Like, oh, what is happening? How can they keep going?
Yeah. But, man, I was really taken back by that fight. That fight made the whole pay-per-view worth buying.
It's so good for women's sports, period. I don't understand why more women aren't into MMA, because to me, like, women's MMA is the only thing that stands on equal footing in the sporting arena with men, where, like, I respect them just as much. I'm just as entertained. Oh yeah. Like I cannot get that excitement out of women's basketball. It's just never gonna happen. Sorry.
Yeah.
But women's fighting, I love it. Like they are literally on equal footing with the men. And
I look forward to a lot of their fights.
Yeah.
I want to say too, it's amazing to me when we see a fight like that for a long time Dana White said that there would never be women in the UFC.
And Ronda changed it, but
right, Ronda, who in the grand scheme of things, she did great things for the sport of women MMA, but in the grand scheme of things was nowhere near as talented as a lot of the women that fight.
No, it was basically she was world class at one thing or two things, and
people just kept falling into that.
She was fighting some amateurs, and then when the real pros got there, she couldn't hang anymore.
No, I mean her stand up was so terrible.
Yeah,
some of the worst stand up I've probably ever seen in MMA.
Yeah, she won 135. Yeah, it's even. I wonder what Ronda would try to do today. Would she try to go to 125? Like.
I think she probably knows that she doesn't belong trying
either
to get
way,
back in there.
Yeah.
Everybody now knows, like, just don't let her grab you. Don't let her grab you.
Yeah.
If she can't grab you, you can just punch her all day long.
Yeah, she's going to go down.
I remember her coach in the last fight. Head movement. Head movement. Ronda, please. Head movement.
He's terrible. What, Tarvardian or whatever?
Yeah, whatever the hell his name was.
He's a goof.
Said that she was a much better boxer than Amanda Nunes and Holly Holm. She was going to stand with them. What were you thinking?
She should look at that guy, and that's not your friend, man. Like, he was a yes man. Like, he just sold you that you were the best thing in the world and didn't bother to, like, hey, these girls are going to kick your head off.
Yeah, we should really get an actual striking coach in here to help you with this. But I am glad that we got to see that fight.
It saved the card. I mean,
like we said, the fights before that were good, but the last fight was so bad that it would have completely ruined the card if that wasn't there.
Yeah, because there wasn't a lot. There's not a lot of names on the card either. I mean, it was and like the first two fights were decent fights as they were. Still, just people decision, whatever.
Right.
And then the third one was cards getting a little better. That was pretty exciting. And then
Yeah, the women just completely outshined. I mean, I was losing my mind during
that was fight. The fight I was most excited for. Anyway, going into it, I was more excited for that fight than I was Izzy versus Romero.
I was probably the same, except for I really wanted to see Romero win, to be honest, just because I want to see him win a belt before he gets out of there, even though he says he's going to fight till he's 53.
Yeah, I don't know. But not like that.
No. And I feel bad for Adesanya because I don't know how he's going to fare against Paulo Costa now after seeing that fight. Because
Paulo's going to bring it to him. But this is the thing. It could open Izzy up. So it's like, it's just a matter. We don't really know yet. You know what I mean? Like, we know that basically, what I think is if Paulo goes in there and whoops him, we know that Romero could have. And just didn't. Like, he didn't seize the opportunity because he has all the ability that Paulo does. Like, he could have.
Yeah, I mean, the fight between him and Paulo Costa was pretty incredible.
Even,
yeah, it was an even fight. I thought Yoel won, but it was one of those fights I didn't care either way because it was a great fight.
Now, if Izzy goes in there and counters the shit out of Paulo Costa and knocks him out, then we're probably like, well, Romero probably fought the smartest fight he could have.
Right, exactly.
Because he probably got lit up too. Like,
yeah.
But if Paulo runs through Izzy, then you got to look at that and be like, Romero could have did the same thing and just didn't seize it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Completely agree. So who do you think is next for Zhang?
I don't know. I mean, I would love to just see the rematch, but Rose, you got to think Rose comes in and crushes Andrade because of, she picks up where she left off.
Yeah, because she was beating the shit out of Andrade.
And then, Joanna, I mean, can't seem to beat Rose, but I want to see it be Joanna just because I think that's her shot at getting the title back. I mean, she's tried against Rose twice and lost. So I don't have that much confidence that she can win that fight. I think she can win the Zhang fight.
Yeah,
as we've seen.
I think it's either because who knows how long Joanna's out with her head looking crazy.
Yeah, it's probably going to end up being Rose.
Yeah, I think.
But Zhang's beat up too.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be between the winner of Andrade and Rose or a rematch with Joanna.
Yeah, obviously. But which one of those do I want more? I mean, I'd want Joanna just because I think that's her opportunity.
Yeah. Well, I think she.
But if she goes and beats Zhang, Rose probably is coming right after her. So
yeah,
it's literally like a 3-way split up there on that division.
Yeah, it's those three for sure. Yeah. I can't really think of anybody else that's gonna jump into that mix.
Yeah, and neither does Zhang go maybe Zhang becomes that woman that can go up and fight
Shevchenko.
I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, but man, again, as we both think, we think Shevchenko's the best.
But man, Zhang could give her a fight. It could be interesting.
Could be interesting. Because Zhang looked a lot better.
She's got more power than Joanna. You know what I mean? Maybe that power is the thing that she can. Because it's not like Joanna looked bad against Shevchenko, but
she just doesn't have the power to.
Yeah, she has no power to put her away. Like, there's no way she can pepper her enough.
Ed Shevchenko's got a lot of power too, though. So her versus Wei would probably be Zhang would probably be a great fight to watch.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Well,
I think that's what I'm rooting for now is just Zhang to keep going and eventually try to become the double champ.
Yeah.
See that fight.
Yeah, I like that you said double champ instead of champ because I hate champ.
Yeah,
I hate that. A little bit of news. We do got Nunes versus Felicia Spencer, which I think will probably be an exciting fight. Even though we saw some holes in Amanda Nunes' game, we did see her also be a true champ and adjust in her last fight.
Yeah.
And I do think Nunes probably just goes ahead and beats the shit out of this woman as well.
Yeah. And I'm probably never going to pick against Nunes or Shevchenko ever, until it happens.
Right. It's tough to do. It really is. Versus Rousey, there was plenty of times I said this person could beat her, but when it comes to Nunes, I don't think I'll ever say that. Although I guess I thought maybe Cyborg. But
yeah, I was rooting for Amanda for sure.
I was rooting for Amanda, yeah. But man, and she beat the shit out of Cyborg.
Yeah, but that was a different question. She was moving to 145 to fight somebody else.
Right, and to fight.
Yeah. Well, this fight will be 145 too, which is actually the first time she's going to defend that title. I thought she defended it against Durandame, but that was at 135. I just read yesterday, and I'm like, oh, I thought Durandame fought her at 145 because that was the title she previously held and was stripped because she wouldn't fight Cyborg.
Right.
And I thought she was just trying to get it back fairly by fighting Nunes because her whole thing was I won't fight the steroid person.
Right. But I think the only other person that's even a question mark at 145 because there's not a lot of women there. Is Megan. Yeah. Megan Anderson, and she just knocked somebody dead.
Yeah, I mean she's a contender. It's interesting. Is there any hopefully Nunes stays there and fights Megan on the way out and goes back to 135 and defends that because by then somebody will probably be challenging at 135.
Yeah, I was honestly
she's at the best position to defend both belts where it doesn't seem like there's so much she's gonna have to fight every 2 months and
that's because
contenders are slowly coming up in 135 and 145.
Yeah,
so.
Well, there's just not enough women at 145 so that she can take those breaks there. Yeah. But I like you said earlier, I was surprised that Megan wasn't the contender, but at the same time, maybe Megan's being smart and knowing she needs maybe another fight or so under her belt.
Yeah. Why rush into it?
Yeah. Why?
Why not make $1 million in between $1 million?
Right. So we had that news, and then also there was that little bit of drama with Ortega and Korean Zombie.
Yeah.
Apparently, Ortega waited for Korean Zombie to go to the bathroom or something, and then slapped his interpreter.
Real Housewives of MMA.
But to me, I always liked Ortega, and now this puts a question mark on my feelings about Ortega because
I'm still kind of fuzzy on why he did it. I thought I read that it was something like Zombie's guy had said something about him ducking Zombie, but I don't even know why that would even come up because Zombie's like in line to go fight for titles. Ortega's not right now. You know, I don't. Why are they even crossing paths? Like,
right, and I just don't understand why you would even fight. Why you would even slap a guy that's not a fighter? Like he's got nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
Like even with all the
you argue with an interpreter. He's a linguist.
Yeah.
You try to beat him in that realm.
Yeah, he's not a fighter.
Yeah. Slapping him proves nothing.
Like even when Conor and Khabib, their two groups fight each other, they're all fighters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's not a bunch of guys who don't train fighting trying to fight fighters. You know, I don't understand why you would attack a rapper / interpreter.
Yeah.
Like that's just silly to me.
Yeah.
And you waited for Korean Zombie to not be around.
Yeah, which makes you look like a fucking bitch.
It really does.
I mean, Ortega's not. I mean, we've seen him.
He's a great fighter.
Yeah, guts on the line. You know, he's. What was the last fight he was in? What was it?
The last one I really remember is Holloway, and he just got pummeled.
Yeah, but I mean, he took a beating. Like
he took it and kept going. Yeah,
was that his last fight? I thought it was.
It might have been. Actually, can you look up?
You would think there'd be a 6-month layoff after that one, because
yeah,
I think that was his last fight. Yeah, Ortega Holloway. Yeah, I mean, he got beat up, but he obviously showed a lot of toughness there.
Yeah, because he got beat up for 4 rounds before they called the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks like round 4. Yeah, I mean, he seemed like a tough guy, but it's just a silly situation for me. I think it was a really bad move on his part to do something so stupid.
Yeah.
Again, if Zombie was standing there, or if you want to slap somebody, slap Zombie.
And I'm a big fan of Zombie, so
massive fan,
dude.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what's next for Zombie.
Yeah,
but we might as well go through the fights that are coming up. We have the UFC Fight Night, Kevin Lee versus Charles Oliveira. Is that how you say his name? Oliveira. Kevin.
I'm so unentertained by Kevin Lee, man. Like he's like. It's just so boring to me, man. I can't do it.
And it seems so weird. It seems like he has all the potential. I think he's had
so many weight cut issues. I think, he lost a lot of respect during that time when he kept missing weight, and like people just started. I don't think people kind of stopped taking him seriously at that time. But then he kind of seemed like he refocused and he's coming back at it. But
yeah, he's just won his last fight, which was his first win in a couple, and he looked good in it. Hopefully he. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. Charles has been around for a long time. He's on a 6-fight win streak.
Yeah, Charles. When he came in, he was very impressive, and I was like, this guy's got amazing potential. But then he kind of didn't go anywhere for a while. But I mean,
now he's on a tear again.
Not everybody's gonna rocket ship to the top at 23 years old like they're John Jones. You know what I mean? Guys come in, look very impressive, and then they get to the top and realize, okay, there's 5 more years of getting better that I have to do before it really turns on. And maybe I think I'm rooting for Oliveira here because I've been rooting for that guy since he came on the scene. He's flashy. I like him.
I think I'm rooting for him as well. I think he has more potential, especially being on a 6-fight win streak. It means more than Kevin Lee winning. Although Kevin Lee, for whatever reason, his name is still good in the MMA community.
To the top of cards.
Yeah. Then the next fight after that is Maia versus Gilbert Burns.
That's on the same card.
That's what I'm saying. Same card. Maia's actually on a little win streak himself, but against a bunch of nobodies, huh?
Yeah. I mean it's going to be the same old story with Maia where he beats everybody below the top 1 or 2, and once he gets up there, it's just you don't have enough. You're not well-rounded enough. I mean, you are the greatest Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioner the sport's ever seen. And that's good enough to put you at number 3 usually. Yeah. But it just doesn't.
It doesn't equate.
Yeah.
And it does seem like Gilbert Burns is up-and-comer. I think he's on a 4-fight win streak. And I don't know. I'd probably rather see Gilbert Burns win.
Yeah, just for his potential. I mean, I love the old school fan in me loves Maia, wants to see him always do well, but maybe it's time for the young kid to rise.
Yeah, well, and Maia's just I don't see him beating any of the top guys.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen. It's just not why I root for it.
Yeah. And after that is you have the return of Johnny Walker, who is there's other fights before that, but go ahead and go to that one because The return of Johnny Walker, Mr. Flashy, the guy everybody thought was going to fight John Jones and maybe beat him. And then he gets knocked out by Corey Anderson.
Yeah, and then Corey Anderson was knocked out.
By Blachowicz.
Yeah, so... I mean, it's a chance for him to get back on track.
Yeah. What I am interested by is I think he just switched to TriStar, which is GSP's gym.
Oh, there you go.
So I mean, you're surrounding yourself with the right people without a doubt.
Talent.
Yeah. The coaches over there are definitely top of the line.
I mean, he's obviously a prospect. Either way, that loss doesn't deter that.
No. And honestly, to get knocked out by Corey Anderson seems kind of like a fluke more than it does because he's a wrestler.
Yeah.
So, honestly, I don't know how I really feel about Johnny Walker. I don't know enough about him, but I will be rooting for him in this fight because I think we need some more fresh people up at light heavyweight, even though we do have now
Well, we thought it was a dead division, and then they keep throwing these challenges at Jones, and they get pretty close.
Right, you have Reyes, and who's the other guy? Is it Silva? No.
Oh, Dos Santos. The knee injury.
Santos.
Yeah,
Santos. Thiago Santos.
Yeah, Thiago Santos.
Yeah.
He came from middleweight, though.
He did.
He was 185.
Yeah,
prior.
Which seems kind of crazy because he seems like he fits well right up there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Johnny Walker, we'll hope the best for you, but, you got a long way to go, I think. And then after that, we got Fight Night, Woodley versus Edwards. I think it's the only fight we're going to talk about on that card. Woodley, I think, is maybe the best fighter in the division, not named Colby Covington or Usman.
Third. I mean, whoever wins that fight puts themselves in a great position. Either Woodley's coming back at the title or Edwards shows that it's his time.
When I didn't realize that Edwards was on an 8-fight win streak. Yeah. 8-fight win streak, 2 of those being Cerrone and Dos Anjos.
I mean, that's a good main event for a fight night. Any other card, it would be a great co-main event.
Yeah, and I'll definitely be watching, even though we're not going to talk about the other fighters, because I have to start watching more of those to see the upcoming guys.
Yeah.
Because I get surprised by these guys all the time. Yeah. I'm like, wait, who's this guy? I'm like, I could have watched his last 4 fights.
Yeah. Well, and some of them I have seen, and it just slips the mind. I mean, there's so much, dude.
Yeah.
Your mind cannot hold it all. Like, there's so much MMA going on now. As opposed to like 2006, it was once a month.
While we're in that division, what do you think about Masvidal versus Usman?
I think Usman is scary, man. I love Masvidal. As a entertainer, he's great,
right.
And as a fighter, he's great. But to me, Usman is. I just don't see how anybody can beat that guy. Like,
I don't either.
He's so scary to me.
If he could deal with Colby Covington's pressure,
if he can keep up with that pace, and also completely subdue Woodley, out wrestle him like he did, who's gonna bring? I mean. Who's going to bring the wrestling, or who's going to bring the pressure that Colby did? Who's going to be able to wrestle with you like Woodley could?
Right.
There's just how is anybody in that division going to beat Usman? I don't see it.
Yeah, and Masvidal just does not have enough of the wrestling game, so.
I would love for Masvidal to win.
I would love for him to win because he's a fan favorite, and I understand why he's a fan favorite.
He's an entertaining champion if he is one. He's Conor. He's that kind of guy. Like people would buy his fights.
I hope he wears his BMF belt to the ring.
Yeah, hell yeah. I wonder how seriously he'd be like, can you take that thing though? Like,
I mean, you can't because it's a nothing belt. To me, that's a belt that'll just be used to put on entertaining fights if they even use it again.
People have been talking about getting it. And he said, I'm not putting this thing up on the line ever. Like, it's just a thing, like a plaque.
Yeah. And Dana White said it was never going to be another thing. But they say that, and then next thing you know, you want Jorge Masvidal to be the headliner.
Yeah,
you're like, it's for the BMF
belt on the line. It'll sell 5,000 more pay-per-views.
Right. But yeah, Woodley versus Edwards. I'm kind of a Woodley fan, even though his previous 2 fights to that were kind of boring. But I'm a Woodley fan. He's from St. Louis. He was a dominant champion.
I'm a fan of Woodley as a fighter more than I am as a person. He kind of annoys me. Like I don't know. It seemed like when he was champion, he was always coming up with excuses like of why the UFC was slighting him, and I'm like, "You're the champion. What do you mean? What do you mean they're like?" Because
he just wanted a super fight. That's all he wanted.
And then ultimately, I didn't think he really deserved one, and Usman showed you that you didn't. Right. You weren't. I mean, the super fight for you would have been GSP if he wanted to come back and be like,
Right.
let's see who's really king of this division. But
unless you're Conor McGregor, then you need to clear out your division really before you move on to fight the next one.
The super fight wasn't there for him, and he just I want a money fight. Like,
yeah, well, you're not doing it like people don't really pay to see you. You're the champion, but Conor McGregor has like the top 5 bought UFC pay-per-views.
It doesn't matter what's around his waist. People just like to watch him.
Right, and Woodley doesn't have that draw power.
No.
All right, so next after that is what I think is an incredible fight night card.
Yeah, I would maybe pay for this.
I probably would.
Yeah.
UFC fight night, Ngannou versus Rosenstrike. But we'll start down at the bottom of this fight card. You got Greg Hardy versus, I'm going to say, Yorgan De Castro.
Okay, well, I mean...
It's another time where Greg Hardy's fighting nobody.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to build him.
But I keep hoping he gets knocked out.
Yeah. I just don't care about him that much.
I don't. He's got a lot of power. He has proven to be a shitty human being on multiple occasions.
Yeah, there's been like issues in his fight. What was he doing the last fight? There was something like in between rounds, like.
Yeah. Oh, he was taking an inhaler.
Yeah. What is that? That can't be legal.
It can't be legal.
I mean, if it is legal, then you would definitely have to have like some sort of doctor thing,
right? And
they didn't.
No, he didn't have a doctor's note.
Yeah.
But he did ask them before the fight, like, is it okay for me to take this? And somebody was like, yeah, sure. I don't see why not.
Who said yes?
I don't know.
The fucking security guy, like Joe.
Right, because there's no way that's used to help people breathe better.
Yeah.
So that's obviously going to.
Yeah, that's going to affect things. More than weed.
Right, way more than weed.
And he whatever happened with it? What did they do about that? Anything? Did anything ever happen?
No,
Nothing.
I just think they told him not to do it again.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think they took anything away from him for it.
Man, if I was his opponent, I'd be like, dude, that's a no contest. Like,
it's got to be a no contest.
Yeah,
like, hey, you were dead tired.
How do we know he could have survived the next round without his inhaler?
Right.
He might have died.
Which he's never said he's had asthma or anything like that before. Just he knew this was going to open his lungs up and help him breathe better. Fuck him.
Yeah, whatever, dude.
Yeah. And then after that, we have Khalil Roundtree versus Sam Alvey. 2 guys coming off loss. And actually, Sam Alvey's coming off 3 losses. Before his loss, I can't remember who he fought, but Khalil Roundtree looked so good that I was like, we have another contender in light heavy. And then he lost his most recent fight.
Well, I mean, you hope these guys who are potential contenders get it on track. You like to see rising stars. It's good for the sport.
Yeah, he looked so. His kickboxing just looked so crisp, and apparently he actually went to Thailand and was doing like the Muay Thai kickboxing. But who was his last loss to?
His last loss to Ian Kutalaba.
Some guy.
Kutalaba. I know that.
Do you?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
I don't know Roundtree that much. I've seen Kutalaba before.
Oh, really? I've seen Roundtree fight quite a few times. He always looks okay, but
he lost to Walker.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in that fight against Eric Anders, he looked so goddamn good that I thought he was going to start walking through people at light heavy, and then of course lost the next one. But I'm excited to see it. We'll see one of 2 entertaining fighters, because Sam Alvey's also entertaining. So we'll see one of 2 entertaining fighters get back on track, and then see where it goes from there. But to me, it's going to be a fun fight, but has no real relevance on the division.
Yeah, not yet.
Right. And then after that, we got the return of the immortal Matt Brown.
Yeah.
I don't know if this guy's ever going to hang it up.
No.
But he is always fun to watch.
Yeah, he's a game, man. That's why that's a name on the card that makes it a good card.
Right. He's always fun to watch. He's fighting a guy who I think let me see, I had a little note on here. He actually only has 1 fight in the UFC. And before that, he had a fight on the Contender Series.
I think pitching him a softball here.
Yeah, well, I think they're saying, hey, man, if you can beat Matt Brown, then you belong in the UFC.
Yeah, or Matt Brown, if you can beat this guy, we'll keep you around because you're good.
Right, and people love to watch Matt Brown fight. Yeah. I mean, he's definitely a fan favorite as well. Yeah, this guy, he's got 8 wins, 6 by TKO, 2 decisions. So, up and comer. And Matt Brown, man, Matt Brown's record is that bad? Go back up a little bit there. 22-16. I did not realize his record
He's
was
probably
that bad.
scooped up a lot of losses in the last 5 years.
Right, yeah, for sure. Oh. And then after that, you got Aspen Ladd versus Juliana Pena.
Weren't they both just up for titles not long ago?
Yeah, well,
Aspen Ladd was.
Aspen Ladd was. Pena was a while ago, but then she was out for a while. I don't know if it was a contract dispute or an injury, but Aspen Ladd has been talked about.
That's a badass name.
Aspen Ladd.
I just like it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It sounds like a badass dude.
Right, it really does. What's her record at?
He's
9-1 and 9-3.
She's a lad.
Yeah, and this one actually has title implications. They're 3-4, so
Yeah.
you got to imagine there's a chance that one of them becomes number 2. With a
Yeah, I
win
mean,
here.
the divisions aren't so deep that almost every fight doesn't have some sort of implications.
That's true. That's true. I think I'll be excited for this one. I remember Pena putting on quite a few exciting fights, and I can't really remember an Aspen Ladd fight that I've seen, but Aspen Ladd I know has been talked about very heavily. Look, her only big loss since she got into the UFC.
Shevchenko.
Yeah, that's impressive. That's Pena. Her only big loss is to Shevchenko.
Which, I mean,
She beat Kat
You lost to
Zagano.
the
She
greatest.
beat Jessica Ai. Yeah, holy shit.
yeah, she lost some fights before the UFC, but ever since she went from somewhere else losing
Two
to
in
the
a row.
UFC and winning.
Yeah, yeah, and beating some of the better women fighters. I
Yeah.
mean, Jessica Ai and Kat
She was on a
Zagano,
2-streak loss elsewhere.
and somehow got into the UFC.
Yeah, and turned it on.
Oh, you know what? She was in the Ultimate Fighter. That's why.
Okay.
That Ultimate Fighter finale
Yeah.
was her one.
Well, that puts you through the fire there.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. So, I don't think I care who wins this fight. I think I'm excited to watch this
Yeah,
fight.
it'd be fun.
Yeah, go back to
They're
Aspen Ladd.
135 or 125. 125.
135.
135.
Yeah, go down. I want to see who all Aspen
So
Ladd has
Pena would have
fought.
fought. Okay.
So actually, Aspen Ladd, her only loss came to Durandamine,
who was-
and she hasn't really fought anybody of note other than that. Not that I see. No.
Yeah.
So actually, I would say this is actually a bigger fight for Aspen Ladd, even though she's ranked number 3 than Pena.
Yeah.
Pena's beat some more impressive people. So we'll see how it plays out. I'm excited for that fight. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
And she has 6 by TKO, 1 submission. All right. Yeah. We'll see
What's
how.
after that one?
After that, we have I never say this guy's name right. Raphael
A Sunsao.
Asuncao and Cody Garbrandt, and I'm hoping Cody Garbrandt gets his shit back on track.
Yeah, I mean, just because he had so much potential that it's like, you know, you should be a guy making waves in the top 3 at least. Like you should be there. Well, it's, I mean, really, we're dogging him on. He lost to TJ twice, but he did it the same way, and then he lost to I can't even remember the guy's name he lost to after that.
Pedro Munoz.
Okay, and he lost that fight the same
The
way he
exact
lost to
same way.
TJ. So it's just like he hasn't. It's not like he's had this crazy fall.
No.
You know, he lost to Dillashaw twice, who was
Yeah.
on roids. So you got that claim, you know?
Right.
But then you come out and do the same dumb move with Pedro, where you have a guy on the ropes and then you just lose your shit.
Exactly. he loses his shit, just starts swinging wildly, and then
Yeah.
gets knocked out. Like, you are so good that you made Dominic Cruz look like he didn't belong in the
you danced
UFC.
around Dominic Cruz, dude. What the fuck are you doing?
Dominic Cruz may be the most impressive fighter in that weight division
Ever.
And you beat the shit out of him, made him look silly, and
Yeah.
then next thing you know, you can't win a fucking fight.
Yeah.
What happened?
I mean, I was rooting for TJ at the time. You know, I was a big fan of Dillashaw, and I don't really care about the steroid thing.
Yeah.
I don't care about steroids. It's just
Rick,
my
just
opinion.
well, just because so many people are doing it.
Yeah, I just think they're all on it anyway. So
Yeah,
I
I think
care.
there's very few that aren't. But Cody Garbrandt, I really do hope he gets back on track because he definitely has all the tools.
Sunsal's a good fighter though. Didn't he? He fought what's his name? The bald dude.
Well, he's on a 2-fight losing streak, but he did.
He was. But he was like in line. He was on a number 1 contender fight 2 fights ago or a fight ago.
Yeah, well, you're talking about Marlon
Moraes,
Moraes.
yeah.
He beat him.
And then he lost to Sandigan. So I mean,
He also beat Aljamain Sterling.
yeah, but I mean, Garbrandt should win this fight. He should.
would think.
You would think.
Yeah,
But
you would think.
whoever does win this fight saves their career for a while. You know what I mean? For now.
Actually, go back to the UFC fight so I can see what they're both ranked. Go back to the fight night up. Yeah, there you go.
I mean, Garbrandt's only 3 losses are his last 3 losses.
Right, but it took him all the way to number 9.
Yeah.
God, that's rough.
It's because of the way he did. You know what I mean? You lost the same way 3 fucking times in a row.
And got knocked out 3 times.
Yeah, and did nothing about it.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. I really
and this is what's my original critique of him when he won the title was like, I think the guy's a kind of an asshole, and I'm like, I don't think his head's gonna stay in it. I think it's gonna get to him really quick, and that was just my assessment of him, and it feels like that's what happened.
Yeah, well, he wasn't doing something right. That's for sure. You should not be beating the shit out of a man and then lose your cool and get knocked out.
Yeah,
you're a professional fighter. Again, like we said, you beat Dominic Cruz handedly. And, I mean, danced all around him. Beat Dominic Cruz at his own game.
It's like he gets angry. Like, I've hit you. Go down. I'm angry now that you're not going. Like, just pick your shots. Dude. Chill the fuck out.
Right. It seems like he rocks him, and then the guy hits him with a good one, and then he just starts swinging like crazy.
Like, oh, I gotta finish it real quick. Just back up. You're the better fighter.
Right. Just let it play out.
Yeah.
And then the headliner fight on this, to me, is just fucking incredible.
Yeah, somebody's going to die.
Yeah. 2 of the biggest power punchers in the sport. I don't think this will go down anything like Ngannou versus the Black Beast, Derek Lewis. Yeah. That might have been the most boring fight ever.
I mean, everybody kind of understands why that went the way it went.
Yeah.
You know, like Ngannou, young, had just gotten, kind of showed... the ropes.
Right.
And he was scared to lose one in dramatic fashion and knock him, go all the way down the ranks. But, yeah, I mean, somebody's getting KO'd. Like, Ngannou, as we know, is the hardest puncher ever.
Yeah, we got... ever. He's had the highest recorded punching power in history, but Francis Ngannou versus, I'm not even going to try to say his first name, but Rosenstrike.
Yeah.
And Rosenstrike has a great last name for being a power puncher.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Strike. Yeah. Rise and strike. And like his last fight, he won. What was it? Congo? Was that who? Or he knocked somebody over him. Yeah, he split his lip. I mean, he was kind of losing that there, and then he came
KO'd
back
with like the last 5 seconds.
Yeah, split his lip
like
bad.
Wide open. Yeah, it was definitely over. There was no way around it.
I mean, I got to pick Ngannou because he's the guy with the more prestige under him, but
more prestige, and I feel like I think he has cleaner striking.
Yeah, but Rosenstrike just fought over him, who is a great striker,
right.
And he handled it fairly well.
But Alistair Overeem, to me, has kind of fallen apart.
Yeah,
I mean, he's still a great striker, but
his days are, his twilight years are now.
Yeah, and since I would guess that he's had a harder time getting on the steroid train, he has seemed to have had a much weaker jaw.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because he's no longer Ubereem. He's no longer anywhere near as big as he was.
No, I mean, he can knock you out, but he's also very susceptible to getting KO'd himself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he had the Rosenstrike fight. He could have won it, and he ended up getting himself KO'd.
Yeah, but what a punch. I mean,
it split him.
Flapped his lip around.
It was not good. It looked bad. It looked so good like 2 days later because they stitched it up and you can't even tell.
Yeah. But that's the Rosenstrike versus Ngannou. I mean, that is a firework fight.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see that. That card in general, I'm pumped for. That's a good card. That's a solid pay-per-view card.
Yeah, that's a great lead into the pay-per-view.
Right.
The next week.
No, it's actually there's another.
Oh, there is another one right in between.
And it's actually Overeem.
Yeah, that's right. They should have not did that. They should have made the Ngannou the one where you advertise the pay-per-view next.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would have done. I am excited for this one, mainly because Overeem versus Walt Harris. Walt Harris making his first return since his daughter or stepdaughter.
Oh,
isn't that who that was?
Yeah.
Yeah, his stepdaughter got kidnapped and killed.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be a big Walt Harris.
Yeah.
Gonna be a big Walt Harris fan for this one, and he looked good the last time I saw him fight. So.
And then the Karate Hottie. I mean, who doesn't want to watch her?
Yeah. Awesome fighter and beautiful.
Yeah.
And I'll be rooting for a Karate Hottie in that one. And then the rest of this, I don't really see any names that I really... Eric Anders is in there. Nico Price, he
puts on... That's going to be an exciting fight. It don't mean much, but it's going to be entertaining.
Yeah. Derek Brunson's fighting again. I didn't realize he was on that card. But Derek Brunson, he's always going to stick right around 8 to 10.
Yeah, he's a middle guy.
Yeah.
For the division.
And then we have, do we want to talk about the next pay-per-view now, or do we just want to save that for our next one?
Let's talk about it a little bit. Then we'll talk about the results on the next one, right? We'll be back before that.
We'll be back before that.
But we got somebody else to talk to then.
That's true. So yeah. We actually have we're not positive if he's still in the UFC or not, but he fought multiple times in the UFC.
Josh Stansbury.
Light heavyweight or heavyweight?
It was heavyweight. When he fought in the UFC.
Yeah. So we actually have him coming on the podcast, which is super exciting. Josh Sandman Stansbury.
Yeah, he agreed to come on. I mean, who knows if it definitely works out, but from here to the 23rd, he's supposed to do it. I mean, maybe something could happen, but he said he was down, so we'll see. He
won on the Ultimate Fighter finale and then hit a bad losing streak. But
yeah, once he got in, I mean, I remember watching the fight against Clark that he lost. Like, my assessment of that fight was, man, the guy he's hitting doesn't want to be hit by him at all. Like, it seemed like the guy was a better striker, but every time Stansbury did connect, the guy was like not wanting any of it. There was power behind the punches, for sure.
Right.
So let's not have him punch us when he gets here.
Yeah, let's not do that. Let's be nice to the guy.
Well, Charlie Horse me. Yeah. I'll give you $50 to Charlie Horse. Take a Charlie Horse from him. I'll do it.
I'm not doing it.
Oh.
But that's super exciting to have somebody that has UFC experience come into the studio.
Just to have been there and talk about what it's like.
Yeah, that's just amazing.
Yeah, what's it like to go in that cage?
Yeah, I mean, if we look at this, he did Fight Night and then 2 Ultimate Fighters. So those are
for him. I think it was just about making. I mean, he was a little older once he decided he was headed that way.
Right.
And I think it was more about just making it to the big show, more than anything for him.
Yeah. And we might also, hopefully, we'll see how it plays out. We have a couple connections to UFC newcomer Kama Worthy, so we might be able to get him on as well.
What about the Charlie Brenneman thing? Was that
the Charlie Brenneman? It's open. We just have to do it on Skype, and I don't know how I feel about trying to do it on Skype.
Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of that. Even when I listen to other podcasts,
you could do it. If you don't like it, don't put it out.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, who cares if he's offended? Like, you're my biggest guest that I've had, and I don't care.
Yeah, he's probably already upset with me because I've talked to him a couple of times, and I always leave him hanging. I am Charlie Brenneman. If you do listen, I am sorry.
This guy, Who is this asshole?
I am sorry. Just a newer podcast, and it's hard for me to figure out this whole Skype thing. Yeah. But all right, so we'll talk about the pay-per-view. Man, it's hot in the studio today, huh?
Yeah.
I got long sleeve everything on. You got to be sweating to death. You're wearing a hoodie. All right, so Khabib versus Ferguson. Let's start towards the bottom of the card, though. All right, that's probably far enough.
Kama Worthy.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Let's try to get him on before that, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think he's coming before that. He's probably got a lot to do.
Yeah, I guess he's busy.
Yeah.
So Kama Worthy is going to be on that fight. We are automatically a fan of yours because we know people.
Well, I've seen it. I've seen his first fight. He's had one fight in the UFC. And He was very impressive. So, I'm rooting for him.
Yeah.
He's a prospect.
Yeah, 15-6 overall. His one fight in the UFC, TKO by punches. His brother is also a fighter. I pretty much guarantee we can get his brother on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll see if we can get him on, but that would be awesome. He's already 33. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, what's his Romero's 42, so.
Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah.
But so Kama Worthy will be rooting for you in that one, and I don't care about that. But then we have Uriah Hall versus Ronaldo.
That's a great fight.
Man,
I want Uriah Hall to be the guy that I think he can be. You know?
How much do you want him to be the guy? When I first saw him start fighting, I was like, dude, this dude is going to be Anderson Silva, but with power.
I thought he was going to be great. I mean, I still think he's got the potential to do it. I mean, maybe it's like, like I said, not everybody's going to Johnny Bones Jones it straight to the top. You know, you're going to get to a point where you're 25, or I don't even know how old he is, but he's not been there that long. And maybe, maybe this is his time where he's learning, how to fight in the UFC.
Right. Well, and he's got a serious fight on his hands versus Jacare.
Oh, yeah. Jacare is no joke. He's a crafty vet.
Yeah. But Uriah Hall has shown the potential to be the best striker in MMA with power.
Yeah.
Not just the technique, but also with power.
And Souza, maybe 2 years ago, I thought was the best in that weight division for a moment, for 6 months. Right. I thought he was He was the best. I don't think the opportunity really came at the time.
And now he's ranked 14.
Yeah, it went bad. It went south for him.
Yeah, and he just lost to Jack Hermanson and Jan Blachowicz. What can we say about Blachowicz? Blachowicz is on a tear.
But he has aside from Blachowicz and Hermanson, Robert Whitaker, Yoel Romero, those are his losses. So.
Yeah, he's beat Weidman, he's beat Brunson, he's beat Tim Bush.
He ran into the top of the division.
Yeah, beat Belfort, beat Chris, he beat Masasi.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then all his losses are to the best of the best. Yoel Romero, Robert Whitaker, Kevin Gastelum, and then the two we mentioned previously. So I'll be excited for that fight, and I guarantee you, again, that one can be a firework fight.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Uriah to turn it on, though. I want to see him live up to his potential.
Also rooting for Uriah. All right, and then... two girls that I don't know.
Sijara Eubanks.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sarah Moraz.
I know Eubanks a little bit.
Jeremy Stevens, always fun to watch fight, is fighting Calvin Qatar.
Little heathen.
Jeremy Stevens, I'll be rooting for him. I like him. I just like watching him fight. I don't think he's at number 8 right now. I don't see him really moving past
he's
8.
older too.
Yeah, he's been fighting in the UFC for a long time.
Yeah.
And I don't really know anything.
That's more the entertainment factor than anything about rankings.
Yeah, that's it. And he's on he's really on a 4-fight loss streak.
Contest.
That no contest was still a loss for him, really.
Yeah.
But 4-fight losing streak. So, it's just that's a fun factor. That's a fan fight.
Yeah.
And then Andrade versus Rose, and I think we're both going to be on the same page.
They still
here.
have Andrade with a title across on a picture.
I noticed that earlier. Why can't we get rid of that? You make people think it's a title fight.
Yeah, maybe that's what they're trying to do. But, I mean, it definitely has heavy title implications. I mean, either one wins, they probably get a title shot, depending on what they want to do about the rematch between Zhang and Joanna. But...
yeah, but I'm a massive Rose fan.
You got to think Rose just comes in where she left off, whipping her ass. You know what I mean? Yeah. The only thing that happened for Andrade in that fight was the slam, and she won it on that.
And she got lucky with it. And honestly, Rose should have been ready for it because it happened twice in a row. Yeah. And she knew it was coming. She should have let go.
Why didn't you just let go?
Yeah, just let it go.
Just get back up and start punching her like you were because you were fucking her up.
Right. Yeah, and I'm a massive Rose fan. She's a weird cat, but she's also awesome.
Yeah. So
I'm Rose all the way on there, and then maybe the biggest, most anticipated fight of the year, Khabib versus Tony Ferguson.
Yeah. They forced that one. You know what I mean? I think that division wasn't going to move until that fight happened. Like they I think if anybody can beat Khabib, it's Tony. Like Tony is the only guy that I think can that doesn't wither, that can withstand the pace.
I would kind of
and
agree.
Can fight from the bottom where Khabib wants to keep you. Well, Tony doesn't care if he's on the bottom. He's gonna fuck you up with his elbows.
I was gonna say he'll cut you from the bottom with those elbows. And I agree. I think more than likely, I want Tony Ferguson to win.
I do too. Just for his title reign and all the funny shit he's gonna say for a year or two to come if he reigns.
And the exciting fights we'll see because
they put Conor immediately against him if Tony wins. They skip Khabib because they don't want to have to put Conor against Khabib again.
Right.
They'd rather just put him against Tony if that's the fight.
Right. And the fights, like as dominant as Khabib is, his fights are never like, oh my God, that was such an exciting fight. Yeah. You know what I mean? But if you have Tony Ferguson fight, every one of his fights are exciting.
Yeah.
Every single one. It's flashy. Yeah. It's stand up. It's everything. And I do think Tony has the best chance because of his X factor, whatever you want to call it. I mean, he's got the weirdest style, and he can cause damage from the bottom. I do think that more than likely Khabib does what he does to everybody to him.
Yeah. Because I get back to the Pettis-Ferguson fight where I think Pettis was winning that fight. Like, up until he broke his hand or whatever. He was on top of him, beating him up. Like,
right. Yeah.
And Pettis is a guy that, sticks around number 5 in whatever division he's in usually. So it's like,
yeah,
you got to think Khabib is the elite of the elite and probably wins.
Yeah, he is. And if we look at Tony Ferguson's recent, he's on a massive win streak, obviously. But you got Cerrone, Pettis, Kevin Lee, Dos Anjos. You see Barboza in there. You see Josh Thompson in there. But you don't see, like, I always talk about the names Khabib has fought, but Khabib has fought bigger names than Tony Ferguson has.
Yeah. But Khabib doesn't have a whole lot of names either. I mean, up until the
ton.
Connor fight, you
Conor
wouldn't
and
say
Dustin
he fought
Poirier.
anybody that was elite. You
Right.
know, like
yeah. Like Barbosa, you can call elite because he's always going to be ranked between 3 and 5.
Yeah, but he's talking about leaving UFC now because he probably thinks he can win a title somewhere else. But
Probably.
he probably could. But yeah, I mean, with Khabib, to me, when he beat Conor was when he really proved that, like, oh man, nobody can stop this train. Like, it's been apparent because of the way he's just mauled people, but he hasn't had to fight a guy like Tony, a guy like Conor, who like is a real test. In the top 3.
Yeah, for even though there's so many Conor haters out there, he's a real test. He's an elite fighter. That's all there is to it. Yeah. And the person I feel the worst for in this whole scenario in this weight division is Gaethje.
Yeah.
Like, just where does he fit in?
Well, I think a money fight with Conor is what should happen.
Right, I agree.
Yeah.
I just don't know if it will.
I hope it does. I don't see how that's not the pay-per-view after this one. Like,
Right. I don't see how that fight does not happen. I think it has to be them and at the 155 weight class, so we can say the winner of that does deserve a title shot afterwards.
Or at 170 or whatever they're going to do.
But I don't know why they're doing 170. That, It doesn't make any sense to me.
I'm going to fight the 155 guys at 170 to prove that I'm the 150.
Right. That's just silly to me.
I get why Conor did it the first time where he was like, I'm at this weight now. I want to just fight that.
Right.
But like, you should now also at this time today, you should be working on getting to 155 to continue there.
Right. To continue your contendership there, because you're not going to be a contender at 170. I just don't see that being a thing.
Yeah, I don't know if you get past. Well, definitely not Usman, but even
Woodley.
Well,
Colby.
What? Masvidal.
Masvidal.
I mean, as much as that's a striking match and that you'd think that might favor Conor. Maybe not. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, because Masvidal is probably more used to dealing with people at that weight class's power and has the power for that weight class. And Conor, why he's an elite striker.
The further you go up, you got to think that power is going to keep diminishing every time you fight up there. Like
right, because his power has shown not to be quite as good at 170 as when it's completely deadly at 155 and 145.
Right. Yeah.
So, well, brother, you got anything else?
No.
Yeah, I think that might be it for this episode. Like we said, hopefully the next one we're going to have Josh Stansbury on. Talk to him for a little while about his UFC experience and maybe get his take on some of these upcoming fights.
Yeah.
And then
let him talk. Yeah.
Yeah, let him talk. Yeah, and then we'll get into after that we'll be probably doing the one that's right before the pay-per-view.
Yeah, so we're gonna have 2 before that pay-per-view.
Yeah. And with that,
we'll have all those fight nights to talk about. You know.
Right. Today's
episode
is brought to you by the Gathering of Fools, ambassadors of bourbon.
Depending
Gary
on what
and Bean,
thank
you for all of your work in helping us get the best bourbons right here in the Gathering of Fools studio. Right after Khabib is Smith versus Teixeira.
That's a fight night?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That's cool.
So, all right, guys. Well, from me and Kyle, this is the MMA Fools.
See you.
See ya.